Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. All right. The last two nights, I've woken up, or it's I either having a dream or was in that twilight state just before waking up, and both times I had a dream that Mike Johnson was no longer the Speaker of the House. Now, obviously, on a long enough timeline, that's going to come true. But in this case, really early this morning when I woke up and just had that understanding he wasn't the House Speaker anymore, it was before the budgets got passed. And intellectually and stuff I've read before, I think that the conservatives got him in there to get the budgets through. And then he'll have pissed people off and he'll be tossed out. I am starting to wonder if MAGA is going to throw him out prior to that. And I think the justification for them would be that, he's not intending on including any of their extremism in the budget proposals. And before the budget gets approved, before it's expired, they'll toss him out and throw the House into turmoil, because for the MAGA crowd and the Freedom Caucus, shutting down the government's the point. They want to show that the government doesn't work, it's dysfunctional. And it's the funniest thing. It's like driving a car into a tree and then saying how unsafe the car was because cars can drive into trees. And it's like, but you were driving it. You steered it into the tree. Entertainment purposes only. Yet, it's funny, the passengers believe him too. Oh my God, the car drove into a tree. Yeah, because the dummy driver drove it in there. Durr. Right. Let's look at the energy around Mike Johnson and the Freedom Caucus and the MAGA faction in the House of Representatives as it pertains to the budget. King of Cups. My card's upside down. We've got the Queen of Cups underneath there. So the big feels, it's funny how they call the Democrats and the liberals and the progressive snowflakes. They're the ones with the big feels and the outrage. I think this is Mike Johnson trying to keep emotions in check and actually lead as a leader. Now, again, there's a lot of things about Mike Johnson I don't like, but so far he hasn't fallen into the fiery histrionics that is and defines MAGA and the Freedom Caucus. And it's crossed, oh, look at that. So instead of the insurrection, although it's part of the insurrection, it's about the budget and making it's not even like a big idea with the budget. This is just something that they're supposed to doing, but the budget's the small part. It's the ideals behind it. And there is a simmering of emotions underneath here, and it's about to blow its top. And this is the MAGA faction. This is the Freedom Caucus. So it's about Johnson and the budget. So we're dialed in. Let's see what we got. In the past, 7 of Wands. I think this is Mike Johnson managing to get an extension. And you've got all these different factions fighting to get their agenda forwarded. But he managed to just beat them off. I gotta stop. That's 2 days in a row. He managed to fight off their challenges. This is not supposed to be an X-rated show. I'll save those comments for the quickies. He's trying to fight off their challenges, and he's been successful at doing that. But it's a temporary victory. He was like, just give us some time. Let's get this thing through. We'll kick the can down the road, and we will address your concerns through December and into January for the next budget cycle. Current situation. This is my card for MAGA. Let's pull this up a little bit so you see a little bit more. I'll pull it down as the case may be. This is my card for MAGA. These are the MAGA followers. These are also the MAGA representatives as well as Freedom Caucus. This is their time to shine, and they know it. And that's why they're pushing everything. You know, a couple of pages here. They don't know how to legislate. They just know how to stir up emotions and basically play hardball. They're really good at playing hardball. It's the only game they know how to play because they don't have the numbers to do anything else. So they just don't compromise. And they've found that if they don't compromise, they shut everything down because Congress and our government works on the principle of harmony and people working together. So if this gear seizes up, the whole engine seizes up. There's no bypass to them. At least the way the government's set up now, because the other members of the GOP who could bypass them by working with the Democrats refuse to do so. Overarching energy is the Knight of Cups. This relationship between Mike Johnson and the Freedom Caucus, their honeymoon's over. This honeymoon's over. Now it's time to put up or shut up. The MAGA crowd's ready. They're ready for their agenda to go forward. And if Mike Johnson cannot or will not deliver on their agenda, something's about to happen. And what's about to happen? Mike Johnson's about to go bye-bye. Yeah. This will happen before the budget. Mike Johnson's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to bring this, continuation of spending thing. He's not going to be able to kick the can down for another 60 days. He's not going to, they're not going to let him get to the point where he can throw out a budget with the Democrats and say, hey, we're going to do this. And then they vote no. And then they kick him out. If he tries to do that, I think they're going to try and kick him out before he can do that because they want to shut the government down. It's just what they want to do. It's their power play. It's their way of showing to their supporters that they're doing something. Lord knows what it is they think they're showing or they think they're doing, but that's what it is. Out comes the King of Pentacles. Interesting. So we're going to go from the Page of Pentacles to the King of Pentacles. This could be Trump, telling him what to do. This could be the elites kind of pressuring. But I think what this is that this is a minor budget issue becoming a major budget issue. It goes from being a page to a king. So I think they're going to kick him out and it's going to mess up the budget. And that will shut down the government. Yeah, emotions are about to blow up. Now, not to be alarmist on it, if this is lame advice, and I'm sorry, if you're a government worker, if you can squirrel away some money or get some contingency plans. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and government workers aren't exactly known for getting paid, top dollar compared to the private sector. But anything you can do to be prepared for a shutdown, get prepared for it, okay? And it's hard because it's going to be it's right after the holidays. That's when that's where it's really going to suck. Because the bills are coming due at that point. If you charge things on a credit card, and maybe that's the one thing. If you can dial back Christmas a bit, pay for cash or, don't overextend yourself thinking, I'll use my January paycheck to cover that. You might want to dial back and do something more in Christmas or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah that's more personal based. One of those things where instead of giving gifts, you spend time with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, we'll go catch a movie together, or we'll go grab lunch, or something like that. Where a little bonding time with somebody, an event type thing, and that way, it doesn't show up on your Visa bill in January, and you can move it down into the spring or to the summer or something along those lines. Maybe when the weather's nicer, maybe when your financial situation's a little more steadied, that kind of thing. Just as a thought. Okay. Okay, Spirit, here's a question for you. Will Mike Johnson be voted out by the Freedom Caucus, or would be voted out of his chairmanship, his House Speaker position, before January 15th, before the first votes on that budget come through? Yep, gone. Yeah, he's gonna be gone before they even get to the votes. If I was just throwing one card, that's a pretty darn good card here. What's underneath it? Yeah, and it's gonna come fast. Pair of eights too. How lucky. Yeah, he's gonna be gone, and it's gonna come fast. He'll find out he's been voted out by a tweet. No, it'll be something that happens really quickly, and we'll find out about it. A breaking news type of thing. Yeah, it's because the budget's. It's when he's discussing the budget and getting ready to put the budget for a vote that the Freedom Caucus just realizes they're not going to get what they want, and they might try and torpedo him before he gets it to a vote. It could happen afterwards, but the question was, what happened before? And here's where you're bringing that budget to a vote. Because they're not getting their way. They want way more than what they deserve. They want, they're 10%. It's 10 to 20. They're like 20% of Congress, but they want, 80% of the power. And so they're just trying to get away with it. MAGA Mike was supposed to be one of us. He was going to take care of it. We were going to shut the government down together, and we were going to be happy. And this is kind of a freaking naivety. I don't think it's naivety on MAGA Mike's part there. I think he knew that this was going to be a problem. Maybe it was. Maybe he thought he could talk to them and convince them that he could get things done. But they're not willing to wait. They're not willing to compromise. They want it their way. I'm surprised it's not the Five of Swords. But, they might give a little, but they want to take a lot. And either he resigns or he's booted out. Alternatively, if whatever scandal folks are seeing or coming through, it's going to be about theft on MAGA Mike's part. Him stealing or trying to get away with stuff involving money and children, which is what hit me before. So it's almost like he's not going to be in there. It's going to be for one of two reasons. It's going to be the Freedom Caucus isn't getting what they want from him. And I guess there's three. The Freedom Caucus isn't getting what they want from him, so they boot him out. Or a financial and child scandal comes up for him, and then he caves in to give the Freedom Caucus everything he wants. The government shuts down, and the conservatives can't work with it and get him out of there. Or the third one is it's just a scandal on his part, and instead of him caving to the Freedom Caucus, he resigns. Something along those lines. It's almost like any one of those paths leads to the same destination, where he is not the speaker when it comes time for the votes. And that's kind of one of those free will things. You know how they talk about free will, and you can free will yourself into a longer journey or a shorter journey, but you always end up at the same destination. The destination here is he's not going to be there when it comes time to push that budget through. Now, how is he going to arrive there? Is it going to be through some scandal on his own part? Is it going to be his refusal to kowtow to the MAGA crowd? Or is it the government shuts down and the conservatives boot him out? Okay, so Spirit, what's the most likely reason? Well, maybe I'll throw a triple card. This is going to be a fun one. I'll throw a challenge, a three-way challenge here. This is going to be a longer video, but hey, you're watching this to be entertained, right? I'll start singing for you. That's entertainment. All right, challenge card. What's going to cause him to consider leaving? Okay, so here's the Freedom Caucus wanting him to consider leaving. He won't compromise on the budget. He won't give them what they want. And what's going to drive that? Oh, there's that things that happen quickly. It's going to be the end of his tenure. Because, again, they want the government shut. They don't know what they're doing. They only know how to block. So if it finds out that he's not going to give them what they want, they're ending it. They will end it quickly, and they don't care what the consequences are of it. Okay, so now what happens if a scandal emerges and he considers, either resigning or considers resigning, let's say. Okay, so here's the budget he's trying to get through. Oh, here's that money card again. It's going to be something to do with his finances. Being left out in the cold. I think it's the hiding of his finances or the abuse of people or, hiding it under the church or something along those lines. So he's not doing his responsible part of it, but people are suffering because of his finances. Maybe his wife should get on her knees and pray some more. Actions that he's taken in the past that have led to this. Huge burden. It's going to be, so if the scandal about finances comes out, he has to make the decision. Does he stay and fight it, which is a huge burden, or does he leave the institution that he's in? Does he basically resign his position? Because if he doesn't, more information is going to come out about the financial position and the abuses that he's done with it. And this will save him the embarrassment of that. Okay. So now, let's say there's either a scandal or he decides to kowtow to the MAGA crowd, which is basically going to be shutting the government down. What happens if he decides to let the government shut down? What's going to happen with the conservatives? Now the conservatives have to make a choice. They're looking at the 2024 election coming up, and they know they're going to get blamed for the government shutting down, and this is not a wise choice. So now they need to figure out what they're going to do for this. Are they going to make the choice of going with the MAGA and forcing horrific changes in the budget that'll never get through the Senate? The government shuts down. They're no good. They're going to get blamed for it. They're in a no-win situation unless they get new leadership in there. Justice card. It's time for them to make a choice. And, it's kind of like we got MAGA Mike in there for the sole purpose to get this budget through. And he's not going to do it. And he's shutting the government down, and we're going to be held accountable for that. Look at all the major arcana. So they're going to have to bring forward a wise female candidate to replace MAGA Mike. Boy, I'm going to force Liz Cheney into this reading, aren't I? Somebody's going to work and get this budget done. They know that they're going to be held accountable, so they have to do something in order to get this budget back on track again. And what's underneath it? The celebration. Almost like regardless of the outcome, we as a nation will celebrate the removal of this person. Let me get this down a little lower. There's going to be a celebration here. If he compromises, if he screws over the MAGA faction, they're going to get rid of him. If there's a scandal that comes up, he's likely to leave before it gets worse and he's really exposed for who he is. And if he shuts the government down, then the conservatives will come up with their own candidate, somebody, who's just and works hard so they can get this budget through. And again, it's somebody who I really think it's somebody who the Democrats could work with. It literally comes down to like a Liz Cheney type person. And I realize that a lot of people are like, I hate Liz Cheney. Her politics suck. I understand that. I appreciate that. But I would hope that you would at least be able to acknowledge that it's unlikely that she would institute the horrific changes that Trump wants the MAGA faction and the Freedom Caucus to insert into the budget, because she is anti-Trump. And, or at least she, in her current state, she's anti-Trump. I understand she's supported like 97% of the initiatives that the Republican Party passed under Trump. But understand, those were Republican initiatives that were done. Trump was the figurehead. It was Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan that were forcing through all those policies in there until Nancy Pelosi got in power and could sort of shut things down. And then the government stopped working again for a couple of years. It wasn't necessarily because Trump wanted it. It was because McConnell and Ryan wanted it. And don't ever forget, if Paul Ryan starts running again saying, oh yeah, I was against Trump, bullshit. No, you weren't. You were fully on board with it as well. That's McConnell, that's Ryan. And understand also that the Republicans, they closed ranks. They were really good at that. And she may or may not have agreed with some of the things that they voted on, but the Republicans were going to vote as a bloc and show that unity. That was a strength of theirs. Right now, when you listen to what she's saying how we need serious-minded politicians in government, period. And nobody viewing this is going to say the Freedom Caucus members are serious-minded. They aren't. They're ridiculous with their demands, and they're not governable. And they even if you're arguing, yes, they are. No, even members of the Freedom Caucus, even members of the Republican Party now saying we're not governable. Look it up. You can Google it. You'll find multiple quotes attributed to members of the houses of Congress on the Republican side saying that. Jeez, yeah. I don't know what else to throw on this one. Nothing looks like it's a good outcome for Mike Johnson on this one. Pause just for a second so I get the cards back in the deck. And you're pulling out 12 cards or so. It takes a while to get them all back in there, trying to put them in different spots. And I've already pontificated long enough. You don't need to hear me ramble for another minute there. I guess, okay, so Spirit, for the budget that's coming up, assuming that Mike Johnson is not there, what guidance would you give to my viewers to help them through this process? I've tried to give you some financial guidance. Instead of asking Spirit for financial guidance, let's look at some spiritual guidance. Something that will help them get through this process. Little 4-card and we'll wrap it up. It's the calm after the storm. We've been through some really stormy times right now, and when he gets tossed out, things are going to calm down in Congress, because you have the choice. You can work together in a bipartisan manner, or you can go off on your own, and pouring this water over here is doing nothing. I think it's good. Again, it's been tumultuous since September, with basically since the end of September through December to January, with McCarthy and now Johnson in there. But things are going to calm down, and things are going to be better after this. This is that darkest before the dawn type of thing. We're about to hit. You know what it is? I was about to say, you're about to hit the finale, like at 4th of July, and think of this as being the 4th of July fireworks going off. And here's the big bang, the final one. I think things will calm down in Congress after that. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Ace of Swords. Yeah. I think some folks are going to be emboldened. They've got their battle cry at this point. No more of the silliness. No more of the Freedom Caucus stuff. It's time to govern. I think it'll snap some Republicans awake. They'll be resigned to the fact that they're going to have to be bipartisan, but this is a way to excise MAGA. Yeah, and they're going to have to be ruthless about it. Not only that, coming right up is Jack Smith in his case, because this is going to happen January, beginning of February, and in March starts the January 6th insurrection trials. So all this chaos in the House is going to go away because the attention is going to be on Trump. Yep. And there he is. The budget will get through. They're going to get a very serious-minded person, somebody who knows what they want and knows how to get it done, and they will get the budget through. They will go from all this blockading of the Freedom Caucus to getting it done. Yeah. So remember, we had gone. This card was the challenge card, and this was the outcome. Now this is the underlying energy. We've gone from the Freedom Caucus wanting to block the budget to succeeding, and now we're going to go from their blockade to success. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's still Liz Cheney. If it's not Liz Cheney, it's Liz Cheney-esque. I mean, I don't know if Adam Kinzinger really has the charisma or the name recognition to do it. Liz Cheney absolutely is anti-Donald Trump. And if she's in there, please understand, the Freedom Caucus is going to hate her. If you don't like Liz Cheney, you don't like the Freedom Caucus, wish for her to be in there just so you can watch the sniping going on and the vitriol, because it's like getting your cake and eating it too. And again, and then watch what Liz Cheney does to carve them up. I like strong women. I just do. I think it's a really sexy thing. And I like it when guys think that they somehow can dominate women, and they're going to fuck around and they're going to find out. You don't mess. You can mess with a lot of other women. Don't mess with that one. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be really sad if she doesn't get in, just because the bloodbath that will follow will be amazing. Yes, and that's my evil laugh, because again, that laugh is all about, you guys have made our life so torturous. The members of the Freedom Caucus have made our life so torturous. It would be amazing to watch somebody who can go in there with a stainless steel spine and just shred them alive like pulled pork. Because it's like, y'all wanted this, y'all got it. I hope you're happy. And the cat's losing his mind. And with the cat losing his mind, and I've lost my mind, I'm going to sign off here. Thank you for supporting my channel and watching these videos. Thank you for everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so that my video makes it out to new viewers. To those new viewers, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful. I hope you appreciate the evil laugh at the end. And I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.